All right, let's talk about future you, and current you. Or I'll talk about it in terms of current me, past me, and future me. What does that mean? Well, it means it's pretty simple, right? Whenever you did something way back when, right? That's past you, and it doesn't even have to be, five. It could be 5 minutes ago for all that matters, right? It doesn't really matter. It's a version of you in the past that did a certain thing, or a version of somebody else that did a certain thing, right? And then present you is right now, you here, wherever that is, right? That's current you, in the now, right? And then we've got the future, which is you or the future person in the future, right? And if I think about and when you think about the actions and reactions of people, right, it's actually easy to do that. It's really, you can think about that, and you have to take a moment though in order to really assess the impact of what you do or what you don't do, right? You have to be present. You have to also be honest too, right? What is the impact? What is the actual impact of me doing that, right, on future me, or maybe even future other people? Because we all come from the same place at the end of the day, right? I mean, we're standing on a blue-green planet made up of certain elements, and guess what? Our bodies are made up of those same elements, right? So, how can we consider ourselves separate, right? When we all kind of come from the same thing, and we're spiritually all connected to the same thing, right? All the religions point the same basic direction. They just use different words for the same concepts, but and in fact, when you injure somebody else, you're also injuring yourself, and kind of vice versa if we're honest. But the same, but it's the idea that but I can look at things, and I'll just take a simple example like the dishes, right? The dishes are one of those things that it's a chore that we're always having to do, right? It seems like even it seems like I'm every other day I'm emptying a dishwasher, or maybe even every day sometimes, right? But sometimes the dishes get left in the sink, right? And so because, well, current me or past me, right, didn't want to do them because, well, maybe they had a reason, or maybe they're just too tired, whatever the case is, right? When current me or then current me comes and encounters that situation, I can look at it and go, well, okay, past me had actually, was up till 4 a.m, or past me had to rush and handle some emergency or something like that. So when current me comes and encounters that situation, I'm able to give myself grace and go, okay, past me, did X. I understand. I'll clean it up, right? And sometimes I might even have to punt it to future me because, well, current me, I have a meeting in 5 minutes or something like that, right? And when I can't, I can't do that and do the dishes at the same time. So future me will give then current me some grace, right? And that's what you should do, right? It's because we all make mistakes. We all aren't always perfect 100% of the time. We all sometimes, even if we do everything correctly, we don't get the result we expect. And so we have to give ourselves grace, right? And give other people grace. Especially people that wronged you in the past, right? Past them was a different person, and okay, you can forgive them for that because they didn't know better, and maybe you didn't know better enough to stand up to them and say, hey, don't do that, right? That has an impact on me, right? Or maybe that's not right, or whatever word it is. But you can give you and them forgiveness because they were different people. Now, to protect future you, right, you might have to put some boundaries in place. You might have to stand up and say, I'm not willing to take that, right? And and I'm not willing to put up with that. So and that's what because you can't change anything that's in the past, no matter how you feel about it, whatever you did. You can't change the past, folks. Quit trying to change the past. Quit trying to live in the past. And the way you quit living in the past is, honestly, stop thinking about it. So it's like the Morgan Freeman quote about racism. You want racism to stop? Well, stop talking about it. But and it's because you're putting energy toward it. When you're thinking about it, when you're talking about it, guess what? You're putting energy toward it, and that means you're keeping it alive. The past only exists insofar as you give it energy by thinking about it, by talking about it, right? And yeah, I know sometimes to sort of rationalize things you have to do that, but how long do you stay there, right? How long does your state, or are you still emotionally impacted by things that happened in the past? Well, the only reason it's still a thing is because you left it, you let it be, right? By your actions, right? By your mindset, whatever it is, right? You have to, if you don't want to be defined by your past, quit thinking about the past, because the future is in front of us, and yeah, you can make different decisions, and you can have a better tomorrow, right? And we're being presented with a tremendous opportunity right now, I think, to kind of reset ourselves, and I think this year there's going to be a lot of things that are I think are in play that are going to come to light, and I think we're all going to have a chance to really really think about things and decide, is this the life we want, right? Well, I think there's a lot of things in this world that we probably need to change, but I can't change the things out there, right? That they're way over there. I can change what I'm doing, right? And those changes will ripple out to other people, and it might cause them to make changes, and so on, right? This is what this is about at the end of the day, folks. This is truly, if you want to change the world, you got to start by changing yourself, right? Because that's the only thing you have any control over, your actions and your reactions, right? And if you make a mistake along the way, guess what? You'll fuck up, because we all do, right? But don't freak out, folks. That's a course correction, right? You made a mistake. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't know better, or maybe you weren't present for one reason or another, right? And that sometimes happens too, right? If you're aware of what you're doing and you're present, yeah, you might see those things, right? Or you might not know you have to pay attention to that. Well, okay, we all make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. But make the necessary course corrections, and think about it. An airplane probably makes 100 course corrections, on a cross country flight, right? And you still get to wherever you're flying to. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the course was always straight, as long as you get there, right? That's really what this is about. So. All right, I think that's enough of Phone Boy Speaks again. I thank you all for joining me, and yeah, if you share, subscribe, like, blah blah blah, all that social crap. But tell a friend, because as I'm coming up with these things, I'm thinking they might be useful to somebody else. So that's why I'm putting them out here in the video, coming out in the woods, and being out in nature. Because honestly, it's a lot easier to be present when you're away from everybody else. And that's the one thing I can suggest to anybody is take a few minutes, right? Every day, go take a few minutes, take some deep breaths. Don't look at your phone. Don't look at anything else. Just be present. Feel your, listen to your breath. Feel the heartbeat. All of that stuff. But anyway, I think that's it for now. Bye, y'all.